The sun hung mercilessly over the training yard, baking the dust into a fine powder that clung to sweat and pride alike. It was close-quarters combat day at the Joint Training Facility, where different branches rotated through advanced drills. The Marines had their corner of the field, the Army Rangers occupied another, and today, a small detachment of Navy personnel observed from the sidelines. Staff Sergeant Cole Brack had a reputation that entered the yard before he did. Broad-shouldered, loud, and undefeated in hand-to-hand demonstrations, he believed dominance was part of instruction. His voice boomed across the sand as he barked corrections and insults in equal measure. When one trainee hesitated during a drill, he shoved him aside to show how it's done. That was when she stepped forward. Petty Officer First Class Ava Ramirez didn't look imposing at first glance. She wasn't the tallest on the field, nor the heaviest. Her dark hair was pulled into a tight bun, her expression calm, almost unreadable. She had been standing quietly with the Navy group, arms folded, observing the techniques being taught. Braddock noticed her watching. "You got something to say, sailor?" he called out, loud enough for half the yard to hear. A few heads turned. Ava didn't flinch. "Just watching the form, Sergeant." The tone, steady, not mocking, not intimidated, triggered something in him. He strode closer, boots kicking up dust. "You think you can do better?" She held his stare. "I think there are more efficient ways to control the center line." A couple of Marines coughed back laughter. That was enough. Braddock stepped chest to chest with her. "This is Marine Corps combat training, not swim lessons." He gestured to the open patch of sand. "You want to demonstrate? Be my guest." There was a brief hesitation from the observing officers. Inter-branch tension was nothing new, but this was drifting toward spectacle. Ava set her cover aside and stepped forward into the ring. Someone in the crowd muttered, "This won't last long." Braddock rolled his shoulders theatrically. "Hope you're ready, sailor." She met his eyes and spoke clearly enough for everyone to hear. "I'm a Navy SEAL." The yard went quiet. Braddock smirked. "Sure you are." He didn't wait for a signal. He lunged forward with a heavy right hook, fast and aggressive, intended to overwhelm. It was the kind of punch that worked on trainees, the kind that relied on intimidation as much as force. Ava didn't retreat. She pivoted. In one fluid motion, she stepped inside the arc of the punch, her forearm redirecting his strike just enough to unbalance him. Her other hand shot upward, not wildly, not angrily, but with precision. The heel of her palm drove sharply beneath his jaw while her hip rotated into the strike. The sound wasn't dramatic, it was controlled. Braddock's eyes widened, not from pain, but from sudden disorientation. His momentum carried him forward as his balance disappeared. In less than a second, his knees buckled and he hit the sand flat on his back, the impact knocking the air from his lungs. Dust rose in a soft cloud around him. Silence blanketed the yard. Ava stepped back immediately, hands open, posture relaxed. She didn't celebrate, she didn't posture, she simply waited. Braddock blinked up at the sky, stunned more by what had happened than by the strike itself. The entire exchange had taken less than 3 seconds. The observing captain broke the silence. "That's enough." 2 Marines helped their sergeant sit up. He wasn't unconscious, just shocked and painfully aware that hundreds of eyes had witnessed the outcome. Ava offered a hand. After a brief pause, he took it. "You telegraphed the shoulder," she said quietly, not as an insult, but as feedback. "Power's useless if it's predictable." He brushed sand from his uniform, pride wrestling with reality. "Where'd you train?" he asked, more measured now. "Coronado," she replied. That got his attention. He studied her differently this time, not as a challenge, not as an outsider, but as a professional. The yard slowly returned to motion. Conversations buzzed in low tones.
The myth of brute strength had just been dismantled by timing, leverage, and discipline. Before stepping away, Ava addressed the surrounding trainees. It's not about size. It's not about shouting louder than the next person. It's about control of your body, your balance, and your ego. Braddock gave a reluctant nod. "Pair up," he barked, though the edge in his voice had softened, "and watch your center line." As the drills resumed, the earlier tension dissolved into something more constructive: respect. Later, as the sun dipped lower and the heat began to ease, Braddock approached her near the hydration station. "You could have embarrassed me worse," he admitted. She shrugged slightly. "Wasn't the goal." He extended his hand properly this time. "Good hit." She shook it. "You left it open." Word of the incident would travel through the base by evening, not as a story about humiliation, but as a reminder. Titles didn't win fights. Volume didn't win fights. Skill did. Discipline did. And on a dusty training field that afternoon, when a sergeant swung to prove a point, he learned that sometimes the quietest person in the yard is the most dangerous one there.